The movie begins, and we see four friends who are sitting in a restaurant. There were three boys and a girl in their group. One of them was named Mike. They were talking to each other that Halloween is coming. So why don't you torture us? Mike says that as always, I will bully Jacob and torture him. In fact, Jacob was an innocent boy whom Mike used to harass every year. Hearing this plan, their female friend forbids them that you shouldn't torture anyone like this. What is Jacob's fault that you torture him every year? Mike says that your answer is in your question, that we torture him every year and it has become our habit. What do you know? How much fun it is to torture him? That girl forbids her best friend in that group that you shouldn't do this. But when Mike doesn't listen to her, she leaves. Then we see that Mike and his friend have eaten. Now they go to the manager to pay the bill to the manager. The manager asks them that Halloween is coming. What are your plans? Mike says to him that we are going to torture a boy badly. We are going to enjoy it. The manager also shows his interest. He says that I also want to go. I also want to see how you will torture him. Mike says that this is the plan of my friend and me. The manager requests him a lot. Finally, Mike agrees to torture Jacob to take him with him. Now let's know who was Jacob. He was a mentally ill boy whose mind doesn't work properly. He couldn't think much. He loved to eat candies. And corn candy was the best. He used to take it in a pumpkin basket. He goes to a festival. Basically, he came here as a worker. The owner of the festival says to him that you should work with all your attention. Work with all your attention. And don't do any such thing. You are insulted. The owner says to him that the show is about to start. You should prepare yourself. But as Jacob comes outside, Mike and his companions are standing in front of him. They start torturing him. But Jacob was tired of tolerating all this. He pushes Mike in his defense so that he may not say anything to him. But Mike gets more angry, and he starts to beat him. His companions were also beating him. Because of it, Jacob dies there. Mike's female friend also observes all this, because she was standing there secretly. She feels something is happening, that how they can take someone's life. Then we see that when Mike and his companions go home, they don't regret it, that we have taken someone's life. Rather, they say that it was Jacob's fault. We used to torture him every year, and he used to tolerate our torture. He used to tolerate it. But this year, he pushed me in order to protect himself. So don't I get angry? They were so cruel. On the other side, we see that Mike's female friend is feeling bad about Jacob. When the owner of the festival sees that someone has killed Jacob, he gets angry. That how can someone kill my worker like this? He is a good man of heart. He takes Jacob's body inside, and he puts a mask on his face. After it, he starts to perform a ritual. Due to it, someone's soul comes inside him, and now the wounded Jacob comes back to life, so he can take revenge for his murder. On the other side, we see that Mike's female friend goes to the sheriff of the town, and she tells him everything. That who killed Jacob, and how he killed him. Hearing it, the sheriff says, "Okay, I will note it down." But I haven't received any report about it yet. But when the sheriff comes to know that one of the torturers was his son, that is Mike, he doesn't believe that I am the sheriff of the town, and my son can do this. So he goes to the owner of the festival, and he asks him, "Where is Jacob? What happened to him?" So the owner says to him, "He has died, hurting everyone. He was just a wound. Now I have sent him to his house to rest." Because it was the truth that we couldn't count Jacob dead after the death of the owner. The sheriff goes directly to Jacob's house, and he starts to knock on the door. But he comes back when no one opens the door. Then we see his friend comes to meet him, and he tells him that the sheriff has investigated. And they come to know that Jacob is still alive. Hearing it, that girl feels at peace. Thank God, he is still alive. Then we see that the manager who had killed Jacob while meeting Mike. He was telling someone that my Halloween was very good. I enjoyed it a lot for the first time. Then that washroom comes after it, where the pumpkin basket is there, and it contains the corn candy. He starts to eat it. Then Jacob comes there. Jacob beats his stomach and kills him badly. That means he had taken revenge from his one murder. The sheriff also comes there, and he starts to investigate. The candy corn was sold everywhere when the sheriff investigates. Then he comes to know that the manager was also one of the people who tortured Jacob that night. Then he doesn't know why. There is a suspicion that Jacob is behind it. Jacob has killed him. There is also Mike's female friend, who has come with her best friend. Then the sheriff also tells them everything. Then they tell Mike and his friend. Mike says that it is not possible that Jacob could murder someone. How did he have the courage? If he had the courage, he would not have saved himself. As far as the manager was concerned, it may be possible that his enemy has murdered him. It is not necessary that Jacob is the murderer. Then the rest of the people are also ready to kill this thing. It may be possible that they may think about it. But as they go to Mike's friend's house, then they start to feel strange changes in their house. He looks ahead. Then the pumpkin basket is also there. He is shocked. How did it come here? In this shock, Jacob attacks him. He ties him with the wall, and he pulls his spinal cord with his hand. Due to it, he immediately dies. On the other side, we see that the sheriff has complete suspicion that Jacob is the murderer. Then he again goes to the vegetable owner. Then he says to him, "I have told you that he was injured, and I have sent him to his house to rest." Now they are talking. Then another police officer comes there and tells the sheriff that Mike's another friend has been murdered. The sheriff goes there and sees that he also finds corn candy there. Now the sheriff's suspicion was proved true. He goes to Jacob's house, but he does not find Jacob there. When he looks under his bed, then there is a strange dead body, which was very old, and it belonged to Jacob's mother. But this body had nothing to do with the remaining murders. The sheriff now goes in search of Jacob. Then he stops the carnival, festivals, and events taking place there, and he says that everyone should stay in their homes. Hearing it, everyone gets angry. The staff of the festival's owner also gets angry at him, that there is something that you are hiding from us, and it is happening because of you. Now how will we earn? Then, one of them, named Bishop, meets the owner of the festival, and he says, "Are you doing right? I will believe whatever you say." Then the owner says, "Yes, I am doing right. Small people like us are always tortured, and big people like Mike are torturing us. It has become their habit to torture others and to hurt their hearts. Actually, Mike and his companions have killed Jacob. I have revived him. So he may take revenge for his murder. So you tell me, is it wrong?" The staff of the festival's owner also confesses it, and they agree that we will support this owner because he is telling the truth. There is some step against them, against the torturers. So we have to take revenge. Then it is seen that Mike's friend and his friend are at a place. That girl goes inside for some time, and when she comes outside, she notices that her friend's dead body is there. She does not understand what has happened. Meanwhile, Jacob comes after her, and he pulls her tongue out. Because of it, she also dies at the same time. Sheriff also comes to the same place, where that female friend and his friend were, to check whether they are fine. And when he goes inside, he notices that their dead bodies are lying there. He understands everything. Then he calls his son, Mike, and he says, "Look, your friends have been killed. If you listen to me, stay inside your house. Do not go outside, because Jacob is going to kill you now." But Mike gets angry, and he leaves his house at the place of the festival. So he may ask the owner there, what is the problem? But at the same time, the owner's man makes him unconscious, killing him. When Sheriff reaches home and searches for his son, he notices that the owner of the festival is there. He points a gun at him and asks, "Where is my son?" But then the bishop comes after him, and he makes him unconscious, attacking him. Then the owner moves forward and separates his neck from his body with a knife. Due to it, he is killed. Now Mike is seen. When his eyes open, he notices that he is tied to a chair. There is no one around him, and he is helpless. Then he notices the car of the sheriff coming from a distance. That is, his father's car. Then he becomes happy. He says, "My father has come to save me," but it was his misunderstanding, because his father was not in the car, but his head was on the car, a severed head. Seeing it, Mike begins to weep, because he knew that he will also be killed. His father was no more. There was no one left. Then Jacob comes in front of him. Who was going to kill him, torturing him badly? He separates his arms from his body. Then he removes all his teeth one by one, and he tortures him in the same way and kills him. Then the scene changes, and we see the owner of that festival, who was showing his show in another city. He gives a necklace to a girl there, which was made of Mike's teeth. He was telling him about Jacob. That girl says, "I don't believe it. How did he come to life? And how does he kill people?" The owner says to him, "Some people kill innocent people for no reason." Jacob was wearing the same mask in his house. He was eating his favorite corn candy. The movie ends with it. Thank you for watching.